Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Soul Illumination Reading for the sign of Cancer. This is I Am Illuminated Tarot reading for Soul Illumination. So hi, everyone, and welcome. We are going to be taking a look at what your soul would most like to illuminate for you at this time. We're going to dive a little deeper into that area of focus. We're going to look at a block or a challenge, advice from Spirit as to how to overcome that block or challenge, and a level of spiritual growth or physical abundance that wants to come in for you on the other side of that. Now, I'll be pulling clarifiers for most of the cards on the table, so this will be a pretty extensive reading. Just keep that in mind. All right, Cancer, here we go. Okay, so this is the energy you're coming into this reading with. We have the Devil, we have the Page of Swords, and we have the Four of Swords. So there's a sense of being in a state of reflection where you're trying to find the truth as to what's really been holding you back. The Devil doesn't necessarily always have to be something terrible. It can literally be just bad habits or a routine that we have long held ourselves accountable to. Sometimes it can be addictions, or it can even be a negative thought pattern or a codependent relationship. But with the Four of Swords coming in, there's a sense of healing taking place. There's a sense of trying to find your truth in whatever this reflective period is bringing up for you, and also being able to really look at the wounds of the past, which is what the Three of Swords here on the wall represents in the Four of Swords card. It's those things, those thoughts in our mind that haunt us, that whisper, you're not good enough, you can't do it, you'll never make that amount, you're not lovable. And so there's a sense of really trying to find maybe where you've been held back by those wounds of the past, and how have they become a ball and chain keeping you from moving forward and from really honoring your own truth as it stands in this moment. Because out here, what your soul is highlighting for you is the Ace of Swords and the Sun. Beautiful energy. This is clarity. This is the awakening. This is the kind of I see the forest through the trees now. And it's a beautiful energy to have highlighted for you at this time, because the Ace of Swords is that clarity we seek. It is also, for some of you, finding a new truth, seeing maybe how far you've come from those past wounds. The Sun is true illumination of the self, of the soul, of the most innocent internal version of us. I look at it as the pure version, the version that we arrived onto this life or into this life experience with, and before we got molded and shaped by the experiences we had. The Sun can also represent for some of you a child as well. This could be truly your inner child, that innocent part, but it could also be for some of you clarity around a child in your life as well. I always love when these two cards come out, because it feels almost like somebody just came in and turned on the light when it's been a little dark for a long period of time. And it's almost like, okay, this is the month for you to really see clearly everything in your life as it stands now. Now, at the bottom of the deck here, we have the Two of Cups. Also incredibly beautiful energy. This is true connection. It's vulnerability with another. It can be equal partnership. It is sharing of yourself with another person, cup to cup. There is not one person pouring themselves into the other person's cup or vice versa. This is where the Devil could be a codependent relationship. The Two of Cups is equal partnership. Now, underneath that, we have the Chariot and the Knight of Wands. This is also very positive energy. This is kind of getting into that place of, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to see what lights my flame. The Knight of Wands is Sagittarian energy. You could even have a Sagittarius in your life. That could be someone you're actually reconnecting with. But with the Knight of Wands, this is the energy of someone who is free, someone who is able to go out and say yes to the things that kind of light them up inside. Like, ooh, that sounds like fun. I want to try that. Ooh, that sounds like fun. I want to do that. And the Chariot is getting back into the driver's seat of your life. This is saying, let's get that ball rolling again. It's also your card in the Major Arcana, Cancer. So there's a sense with the Chariot, Cancer, you as a sign, as a zodiac sign, you rule the fourth house. You rule home and family. So there's a sense of that connection with the Chariot card, because the ultimate destination of the Chariot and the Charioteer is the ultimate place that feels like home for that individual. So there's a sense of really kind of getting back into the driver's seat of your life. Possibly there might be a greater focus on a child in your life, or there could just be a sense of the realization of what it's going to take to make you feel free, what it's going to take for you to feel like you're back moving towards something that feels very intimately connected to yourself, as well as then opening yourself up to new intimate partnerships and connections with others. And at the same time, I'm going to pull some additional cards here. At the same time, there's this beautiful feeling of the lights have come on. There's a new truth about yourself that you're seeing. And there could be a sense too of a new truth about the part of yourself you have long maybe held back or suppressed a little bit with the Ace of Swords and the Sun. Because if this is kind of looking at it from the point of view of this is that innocent, pure version of yourself, you might have, with the Devil coming in here, you might have hid that version for quite some time because of the pain of the past. You know, it's almost like when we think of an overprotective parent who doesn't want their child to go out into the world because they're so terrified that somebody might hurt their child or the child might hurt themselves. There can be that sense that we do that with ourselves as well, where we get into that place of, I don't want that part of myself to be seen because it was hurt in the past. And I think for many of you, this could be the month where you're realizing that's the best part of me, and it's time for me to bring that part of myself out. And what better month to do it than when Aquarius is in so many different aspects of our collective Zodiac chart, our astrological chart, pushing us all to really see the true individual that lies within, and the beauty of that. The importance that our individual uniqueness has to be of service to the greater collective. So let's see here, Cancer, what else is coming through for you? We're going to look now at a block or a challenge that you're facing at this time. And here we have the Sun again, beautiful energy with the Seven of Cups. Right. So for some of you, there might be, the blocker challenge might be a little bit on maybe too many options at this point. This could literally be where, very positive energy with the Empress coming in here in the middle. The Sun and the Seven of Cups could be that realization of, when we think about maybe being in a time of darkness for a while, or just in a time where there's been a lack of clarity, or we have been healing with the Four of Swords, where we have been going through a period where we needed to kind of take a break from the world and rejuvenate ourselves. That when the light comes on and it's like, okay, back to the world again, the Seven of Cups can kind of come in sometimes and muddle the newfound clarity up a little bit, because the Seven of Cups can represent opportunity for emotional connection and growth, but it can also become a place where we kind of get into that analysis paralysis, or maybe not analysis paralysis, but we get paralyzed by the fact that there are so many options out there, where we're like, but we could do that, or maybe I could do that, or what if I choose this and there's something better on the other side? And that can be difficult, especially with the Empress coming in here in the middle, because this is what your spirit is highlighting for you as your advice, which is getting into that energy of creation, of true creativity. It's the energy of what we want to hold space for and give birth to in our experience. Now, this could be for some of you literally wanting to give birth to a child. It could be the energy of wanting to give birth to a creative project. It could literally be the energy of just, I want to create more of this type of experience in my life. I want more sense of community. I want a greater sense maybe of freedom and adventure. But whatever that is, what this is saying is it comes back to you, Cancer. What do you want to create? Not the Seven of Cups can be where we're looking outside of ourselves, or we're looking for a job that's going to fulfill us, or we're looking for a person that's going to give us that sense of self-love that we can't give ourselves, where we're looking for that friend group that's going to validate our importance in the world, or a boss that's going to tell us that we're, the best person on their team. There's a sense here of having to realize that there's always going to be options outside of ourselves, but only we can actually create the life experience we want. No one on the outside or no thing is going to be able to do that. It's kind of like looking at giving birth like from the opposite direction. The child doesn't come and crawl into your stomach. We have to make that decision to create that life. And so there's this sense of, I'm getting, and I don't always get this with the Empress, but there's a sense of stepping into a place of personal responsibility for your life experience, Cancer, which is very powerful. It's very powerful. The Empress really harnesses the energy of Venus, which is beautiful, Taurus and Libran energy. And so there's also an energy of beauty, of understanding what you value and using that why as to what you're holding space for or what you're choosing to create based on what you value and want more of in your life experience. Now, on the other side of this, we have the Prince of Wands and the Ten of Swords. Now, here's that Prince of Wands again, which is actually the Knight of Wands in this deck. So the Knight of Wands, again, for some of you, there literally could be a Sagittarius in your life. This could be an individual who is maybe more of a freedom seeker, and you might be learning from them in some capacity. This could be a partner. This could be a child in your life. But if not, this is the freedom that comes on the other side of seeing who you are, kind of peeling back those masks, showing the most innocent, vulnerable part of the real you as it stands now, the true version of yourself as you are. Understanding that in order to get around the Seven of Cups, which is that energy of looking for something outside of yourself to fulfill yourself, or to give you a sense of purpose, or to give you a sense of belonging, that it's time to get into the creativity mode, the Empress mode, and create it for yourself. Because on the other side of that comes a true sense of liberation. And with the Ten of Swords, this is facing that really difficult period of time, whether it was in the distant past or whether it was in the more recent past, where when I see the Four of Swords come up, it generally, for me, represents someone who has gone through the Ten of Swords experience, which is where we've been kind of brought to our knees, where we felt like the rug was ripped out from underneath us in the life experience, kind of on that broader level where we're like, really? Like that too? And so then we kind of have to get, at a certain point, we go back to the Four of Swords, which is healing, which is that energy of, I need to look at what happened here and how I got to this point, and what are those wounding thoughts that are coming through from having gone through that experience. Now, the beauty of the Ten of Swords is that it's the last card in the 10-card cycle of the swords in the tarot. And you start the next cycle again with the Ace of Swords. So this speaks very much to closing out a cycle of pain or a cycle where it was very difficult for you. And what the Ten of Swords to the Ace of Swords teaches us is that that individual, yes, he may have been stabbed 10 times, but when he is able to stand up and realize he survived that, he gets to walk away with just one sword. And that sword is the true lesson summed up as coming through that entire process, which is, what is the truth of what you survived? What are you capable of now that you have come through that? And that's kind of what you see in this card. I love this specific image in this deck, because you see the individual being pierced here, and you see the ray of light coming through his mouth. And that's showing that truth, that illumination, that realization of, yes, I went through all this pain, but wow, this is now what I understand I'm truly capable of. This is the truth I've seen now about myself or my experience because of going through this. Sometimes we have true awakenings when we go through that type of really heavy, harsh, whatever it is that brings us to that point. And it can get us to a place where our perspective changes exponentially. Suddenly we realize that life isn't all about work. And it could have been coming off of a cycle where you were maybe laid off from your work, you had financial hardship, you had to, find a new career path and kind of dig yourself out of that whole scenario. And suddenly you realize, as you did that, you realize, oh my gosh, I realized I needed to be fired from that job or let go from that job because I was so focused on the rat race and making money, and I didn't have any hobbies or close friends or, that kind of thing. And all of a sudden there's this like perspective shift. And there's that realization of, oh my gosh, I lost myself in that. And there's a sense here very much so, Cancer, of realizing where you lost yourself. And it's almost like there's a lost and found component here. And now it's time to now that you found yourself, it's time to get in the driver's seat with the Chariot here and with the Empress here. Of what are you going to create for yourself, and possibly what are you going to create for others? Because when we think about how we have this major shift into Aquarius at this time, with Pluto finally getting into Aquarius, the last planet to be in that sign, this is the true shift, the true age of Aquarius, because Pluto will be in Aquarius for the next 248 years. When we think of 248 years ago, when Aquarius was back or when Pluto was back in the sign of Aquarius, we look at what was happening in the world at that time. We had our own revolution here, a revolution towards freedom in the United States. France was going through something similar, and we had a lot of strife actually kind of throughout the world that came in the next about, I'd say, 40 to 50 years after that shift. And in addition to that, Aquarius really has us focus on innovation, invention. And a lot of innovation and invention comes from that push for freedom and that liberation of our own creative expression, our own creative ability. And that creative ability is truly unique to each one of us. And as we can see, what's happened in the past 248 years, we've had all kinds of inventions and innovations that have maybe been invented by one person, but have impacted the lives of the entire collective. So keep that in mind. But there is a sense here very much so of losing yourself, finding yourself, and being asked to really get back into that driver's seat of what you want to create. And with Temperance coming in at the bottom of the deck, this really speaks to not only moderation, but I always look at Temperance as kind of a divine timing card in a way. There's a sense of saying, now it's time to pull out some new moves, Cancer. It's time to take what you've learned, and it's time to now act in a new way. I look at Temperance as balancing your emotions with how and where you choose to take action. So there could be a new way based on what you feel in how you choose to take action, or vice versa. You might realize, wow, I was suppressing my emotions for so long, and now I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to take action as to follow my emotions and express them. But there is a sense here of taking two parts of yourself and bringing them together in a new way. So this could be bringing a skill set to get with something in a new way. This could be expressing a version of yourself in a slightly different way. But there is that sense of pulling out new moves in a way that is divinely timed for you now, for what you'd like to create at this point. Okay, so I'm going to pull some clarifiers here. I'm going to look a little deeper into the Sun card. Yeah, 8 of Cups. Okay, yeah. Illumination of what it's time to walk away from. 8 of Cups is when we have poured our emotional self into these cups, and we're realizing, you know what? It doesn't support me anymore. I don't want to put any more of my emotional investment into that, and we realize it's time to walk away. Now with the Hermit and the King of Cups, this is Virgo and Scorpionic energy right here. Now, for some of you, you might actually have a Virgo and a Scorpio in your life, and you're realizing it's time for me to walk away from that, those people in my life, if this is maybe more focused on individuals. But you could also be looking at this with the Hermit and the King of Cups, where you are getting to a place. The Hermit is someone who has kind of withdrawn from the world to find the light within themselves again. And then when they come out, they're able to hold that light they've discovered that only they uniquely shine. And they can hold it not only out for themselves to see the next steps forward, but that light can be shining for others to see by as well. Now with the King of Cups, this could be this is the individual who is very much in control of their emotions. This is an emotionally mature individual. They lead from what they feel. They don't let their emotions overwhelm them, even though they are very much in a place to feel and understand their emotions, they're not going to fly off the handle just because they feel upset. They're going to process that emotion and appreciate it and look a little deeper as to what is making them upset. That's the kind of emotional maturity that comes through. So for some of you, there might be this kind of realization of how much you've learned about yourself, finding something unique within you that you shine out, and getting to this place maybe of emotional maturity that you had not been in before. And that's what's allowing you to realize where it's time to walk away from something that you just don't want to emotionally put yourself into anymore. Now, the King of Cups can also be the unconditionally loving father as well. So for those of you who identify as male or as a father, that could be something as well. But I feel more than anything, it's more about you just finding the light within, getting to that place of almost taking the emotional high ground, if that makes sense. And then from that vantage point, being able to see what it's time to walk away from. And that could be a relationship. It could be whatever the devil represents for you. That could be where maybe where you simply held yourself back from connecting. Maybe you hid yourself away and you're realizing, okay, I can't continue to emotionally invest in a life of loneliness. It's time for me to go out there and connect with others. It's time for me to create community. All right, so we have, for the Seven of Cups, we have the Queen of Swords and the Two of Cups. The Queen of Swords comes in to kind of tell a hard truth. And I think for many of you, there's this realization of where you're realizing that it's not about what is beyond you, again, to give you a sense of purpose or a sense of emotional connection to your life or fulfillment. That true fulfillment comes from you connecting vulnerably and intimately one-on-one with other people. There could also be a sense here of realizing that it is connection, just true connection with others that's been missing for so long, maybe that you've been seeking. And it could be like, I was looking for connection in my work, and I was looking for connection in this and that. And now you're realizing, I just have to bring my cup to the table and start to show up for others. The Queen of Swords is also someone who understands her own story. She understands what she's gone through, what she's survived, and she's able to share that. And I think for many of you, you're getting very clear on that part of yourself. You're getting clear on your story, and you're realizing maybe where that story lacks a little bit of this one-on-one, I'd say equal partnership, support, and connection. Okay, let's see with the Empress, what's coming through here. So we have the Ten of Wands. Okay, yeah, I think for many of you, you're holding a that's kind of messy. Let's try that again. All right. So the Ten of Wands is just like the Ten of Swords, the final card in a 10-card cycle. It is where at this point, we now feel like we are carrying a ridiculously heavy burden all by ourselves, or a burden that is so precarious, it's exhausting. And this is where we realize, I get to put that burden down. Yeah, I did have to carry the burden or the load for a long time alone, or where I felt like kind of the weight of the world was on my shoulders. But now I get to put that burden down. And guess what? Just like with the Ten of Swords, when you put that burden down, you can just pick the one wand up, the Ace of Wands, new inspiration. And guess who rides off into the sunset with that new Ace of Wands? It's the Knight of Wands. He gets on his horse. He's now free. He's unencumbered with the Ten of Wands, with the weight of the world, with carrying the burdens of doing everything themselves. And he's ready to go create with his wand. So for some of you, there could be a sense, with the Seven of Swords. For some of you, you're not willing to there is an avoidance here of what it's time to put down. Wherever you feel like you are just something like a phrase creeps into your mind, like, well, if I don't do this, nobody will. Well, if I don't keep staying in this job, my family will not have enough money because I'm the breadwinner. So I have to stay the breadwinner. Or this could be where, sometimes I look at Ten of Wands, that can be micromanagement, where we've gone so long having done everything by ourselves that we do have that sense of if I don't do it, then no one will do it. Or it can even be sometimes where we're looking to create and we're ready to do that, but we think we have to do everything alone. We have to have all the details. This is like throwing a party for a bunch of people and not accepting when people are like, oh, I could bring this, or I could do this, or hey, do you need me to go pick up ice on the way over? And you're like, no, I've got it all. Don't worry, because you're like, I'm going to create it the way I want to, and the person might not get the right thing, and that kind of mentality. And suddenly you're stressed out. You don't have a chance to actually create the vision that you wanted for yourself. So there is a sense of kind of realizing you can't do it all alone. There is a burden, probably long-standing, that it's time to put down, especially with the Eight of Cups coming in here, that is no longer emotionally supportive of who you are at this point and allowing you to connect and feel free. So as soon as you face what this Ten of Wands is and you say, I'm going to put it down, I'm going to just trust and I'm going to have faith that the universe will kind of step in where I'm pulling back. And I'm ready to create. I'm ready to give birth to what I want more of in my life. And here's the Queen of Cups. Beautiful energy. That's you, Cancer. That is the unconditionally loving mother. That is someone, there's a sense of through freedom, you're finding self-care. That the Queen of Cups, she honors her cup first. That's why it can be a card of someone who's going through a period of self-care as well, where they're saying, I'm going to start saying no to things that don't honor my needs or my dreams. It can also be someone who is really finding the love for themselves so that they can then have that full cup to share that love with others. This could be a parent-child dynamic as well with the Knight of Wands and the Queen of Cups. There could be that sense of really stepping up to say, I'm ready to be the parent to my child, very much so. But I think for most of you, this is that realization of I get to step into a place of self-care, of truly honoring my needs and my dreams by freeing myself from this burden, by getting back into the driver's seat of what I want to create more of for myself that honors what's in my cup. Oh, wow, that is way too many cards. Let's see if we can get just a few less. Cards are very talkative for you, Cancer, today. So there's definitely, I think for many of you, this is just a time of a lot of self-realization and possibly a lot of self-actualization as well, where you're starting to get to that place of taking action on the epiphanies or the realizations you're having. Okay, and then there's the Fool. Yep, the leap into the new. This is kind of that 0 point field of, okay, here's the fresh start. It's time to just kind of leave. The Fool doesn't take baggage with him when he leaps with full faith off the edge of a cliff. He instead frees himself. And there's a sense almost here, Cancer, I feel that relief of like, oh God, I just got to let that go. And now I'm this kind of free, naked child with all that baggage, all that weight. I get to leave it, and I get to just bring my self-care, and I get to leap into this new experience. And that new experience involves a lot of freedom, a lot of what feels like fun, and a lot of lighting that internal flame again from within. Okay. Five of Coins. Yeah, for many of you, there might have been a sense. Five of Coins and Four of Cups. Yeah, this was definitely a cycle that was, and there's the Ace of Swords again at the bottom of the deck. So yeah, there's a lot of clarity coming in here. Five of Coins, Four of Cups. Five of Coins. This can be a poverty mindset. This can be where we feel like we never have enough, where we're left out in the cold, we don't have enough support, money, time, you name it. Four of Cups. This is where we feel dissatisfied with our life, where we're kind of like the outsider looking in. I tend to see this card now more as someone who's looking at the Three Cups, which in the tarot represents community, friendship, those like-minded souls coming together in celebration. And they're withholding their cup from that. So there might have been a time here for many of you where you were kind of the outsider looking in, where you felt like you were seeing everybody else kind of have fun or have that community, and you just didn't feel like you belonged, or you felt like you didn't have the support. This can also be where you're just looking at your life in general and feeling like there's just nothing, like kind of feeling meh about your life. I just don't connect with anything. And the realization with the Four of Cups is that we have to look at our cup. We can't leave our cup on the table like you see here. We have to face that we have needs and dreams and desires and emotions that we're yearning to be expressed, and we have to embrace those, and we have to bring those to the table, and we have to realize that things outside of ourselves are not going to bring us that emotional fulfillment if we are not in a state of awareness of what those needs are. For many of you, there was a cycle here where you did feel very much on the outside, where you did not feel like you were connecting with an intimate soul tribe. You might have felt like you lacked support in something you were going through. You might have even lost out on money or possessions with the Five of Coins coming in there. That could very much be where you went through something very difficult and there was a loss in a physical sense in your life. But this says that time is done. And I think for many of you, that Ace of Swords coming in as this final message here is that clarity of where maybe now you've gone through that. You faced losing stuff in the physical. You have faced where you felt like you were the outsider looking in, or where you didn't have support. And now you're realizing that it's time to walk away from this cycle. The cycle has closed. You are healing. There's a new truth about yourself that you're seeing, about a part of yourself you want to connect with others. And there's freedom. There's also a lot of clarity around a heavy burden that you have long carried yourself, that it is time now to put down. And when you do, here comes your creative potential. Beautiful energy, Cancer. Okay, I'm going to pull two final cards here before we wrap up your reading. So I'm going to pull a card here from the Power Surrender deck, and then I'll pull a final card, Surrender Stubbornness. Yeah, this card comes up for me a lot. I got a lot of Taurus placements, so I can understand stubbornness. But I'm also a Cancer rising, so I relate a lot with this as well. So it says, if you're tensing up or taking a rigid stance about something, gently observe yourself and become more yielding. This will help you communicate more lovingly with others and yourself. And I think more than anything, this is really speaking to this part right here, the Seven of Swords and the Ten of Wands, the not wanting to put something down, the not wanting to let something go. And then there's also a sense here of not wanting to take that leap of faith, because that's what's happening between the Empress and this Knight of Wands. There's this burden being carried, and yet you're being asked to take that leap of faith with the Fool. But you have to be able to, this is like the person who's carrying all those wands, and they're like, yeah, but if I let them go, I might never have another wand. I might not get any more. I have to carry these. And there's a sense here that that's where that poverty mindset's kind of coming in, of like, I have to cling to this. I have to keep doing something in a specific way. I can't let this go. And here we get asked to surrender that stubbornness, because your spirit's saying it's time to let that go. That's part of the old cycle. You're stepping into a brand new cycle, and one that is going to be moving towards exactly what you want to experience more of, including connection and support in your life. So there's going to be those people there who are willing to kind of back you up if needed. Alrighty. So let's see here. I'm going to pull a final card, and I'll read the full description that comes with this card in this oracle deck. So let's see here. What's a final message for Cancer that Cancer needs to be aware of? Okay, so we have alchemical mutation, number 31, breaking down to the number 4 in numerology, which is the number of building new foundations, especially building foundations through hard work and effort. I like that it's alchemical mutation, because it kind of mirrors here temperance, because temperance does really speak to bringing in that energy of alchemical transmutation. So let me get the book out here. Let's see what comes through. All right, it says, your spiritual growth is changing your mind, body, and soul. It is very real. It is helping you fulfill all aspects of your divine destiny. It is awakening spiritual talents and attracting in new energies. This process will bring tremendous joy and satisfaction. The body changes as light enters. Alchemy is catalyzed and transformation happens. Sometimes the appearance of the body changes. There will be change in how the body feels, responds, acts, and creates. Radiance increases. Lightness of being increases. If you have clairvoyant vision, you will see the increase in light as though the person is actually lit up from within. They are. Spiritual abilities become grounded in the body, and the person can channel healing energy just as naturally as they would set the dinner table. The spirit becomes a living reality in the body, and the material world is experienced as an extension of the divine light. This alchemy is an empowering gift of love. Symptoms of this process can at times be challenging. They may include headaches and other aches and pains, flu-like symptoms, and inexplicable and nearly overwhelming fatigue that lasts for days and then suddenly vanishes, along with the surge of new energy. We may also experience pinging in the ears, increased sensitivity to light or sound, hormonal imbalance and hot flashes, excessive sexual energy, mental obsessions or mood swings, aggression, and unintentionally harsh reactions to people. If you have been experiencing any of the above and wondered if these or other unusual symptoms could be a direct result of increased spiritual energy affecting the body, then the answer is that this is very likely. You are encouraged to source whatever professional health support you need to take care of your body. Also consider using the following simple practices to ease away the side effects of divine alchemy taking place in you. It says these simple practices include getting more rest. Additional sleep is a powerful way for the body and mind to heal and repair, integrate, and reorganize. Allow time for physical exercise, which can help release excess energy, especially if you tend to feel mentally congested. Take some time away from meditation, spiritual studies, or discussions and energy work. Instead, simply be in nature or rest. If you work with colors, then take a break for a short time, only working with very soft, subdued white or colorless light. If you have a tendency to push yourself with spiritual work, learning to take time off in regular occasions will help you recover more quickly and suffer less. Finally, working with cooling energy, not cold, but refreshing as a way to discharge excess heat can be extremely beneficial to body and mind. You can do this by sitting in the shade or in a room that feels cool and relaxing, or even by cooling your hands before an air conditioner or fan, and then using your fingertips to transfer cool and healing energy by lightly touching your chest, back of neck, and back of your head, ears, and forehead. Okay, so I kind of ended there very specifically, but I think more than anything what this is saying is that, yes, you've gone through whatever this was in this past cycle that was very difficult, you have fundamentally changed yourself. There's a sense here of almost on a cellular level, you have changed that much. And that's why it's time to put down old burdens. It's time to release yourself from anything I think still tied to that past experience. And there's a reality here with the Ace of Swords coming in so prominently and the Sun of just the illumination of who you are, kind of the unique gifts that you have to bring. But there's also, I think, an illumination of a path forward for many of you and the awareness of now how you want to connect with others. There's a sense, I love it here, of true liberation. Again, kind of like what I said previously, there was a sense of, I think, losing a little bit of yourself, and this is a cycle now of refinding who you are. You lost yourself, you are now found, and now what are you going to do with that? And how are you going to kind of, I think, let go of this poverty mindset and realize now it's all about what you want to create, and our creative potential is truly limitless. What we can create, I mean, we'll see it within our lifetime for sure. There are things that people come up with out of the blue that we would never have imagined in our wildest dreams. And that's the limitless nature of our experience. And I will leave it there. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the month, Cancer. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day as well. If you'd like to book a personal reading to bring light, clarity, and illumination to an area that could use a little bit of those things in your life, you can click on the link in the description box below to visit my website. Otherwise, I will see you all in your next reading. Bye, Cancer.